Hi, good afternoon. My name is Chizoke Oluwafayefumi. I hail from Lagos, Nigeria. This is a magic project, given to us by ALX Virtual Assistant to allow us to know if we really understood the short course that we took on virtual assistant. We are in course one, the foundations of a virtual assistant, which explains and explores what virtual assistants do, the strengths, the problem that they solve, you know, how they grow in the market space and all that. So this is what the assignment is all about. What do I understand by a virtual assistant? My understanding on the role of virtual assistant basically. So a virtual assistant is referred to as a operational backbone of an organization or a company. So they offer administrative support, they offer communication and customer support, they offer information and research support, right? Information and research support. So basically while the top girls that they are assisting, are focusing on on what they love to do best, right? The virtual assistants are there to take a bulk of routine work, basically. For example, like now in a fashion industry, right? The CEO, let's say for example, Victoria's Secret, right? Let's say she has a routine work of of scheduling meetings with clients or or meeting with potential investors, and all that, right? That is the role of the virtual assistant. Virtual Secret focuses on the fashion world, which is what she's good at. That's my explanation of what it means to be a virtual assistant. So basically, they are the ones that make the work easier. How? Now, virtual assistants are, as the word implies, virtual. They work remotely. They work digitally, right, across the globe. Now, for example, like now I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I can be working for someone who is in a different time zone from me, right? And that is because internet has made it very, very easy for us to work at different. We don't necessarily have to be in the same office for that to happen. Now, how is this very good? This is good because it brings in flexibility basically, right? You don't necessarily have to be there, and because of that, you can multitask basically, and we are still on top of our game. Now, what problems do virtual assistants face? Now, for example, like I said, I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and we have this issue of electricity and internet connectivity. I'm using my country as an example, right? Now, for somebody whose work is remote, right, you need to have good internet connectivity, right? Because you don't want the case where the CEO or whoever you're working for is or whoever you're supporting, right, is needs an urgent work to be done, and because of internet or network or electricity, he's not able to get to you. Or let's say you're supposed to be in a meeting that is virtual, right? And because of electricity, you're not able to give your best. You're not able to show for basically, or they can't see you. That is not good. That is the kind of problems that we face as virtual assistant, right? Why does this role exist? This role basically exists to make the work easier. Top guns that they are supporting basically. I gave an example of um I gave an example of Victoria's Secret, who is a fashion guru, right? Her virtual assistant is supposed to ensure that she focuses on what she was created to do while while he or she does administrative work, clerical work, things that will make you know the work that they're doing to make it because truth is that top executives are usually very very busy, they are very busy. It's a virtual assistant, helps them to be on top of their game. A strong virtual assistant. Okay, so the first one that I noticed that makes a strong virtual assistant is being proactive. You don't even need to wait for an instruction to be given to you before you do it. What does that mean? For example, like now you know what you are there to do, your everyday tasks, right? And all that. Even if you are supposed to build institutions and processes in the organization, your boss doesn't have to come and tell you that, okay, so do this, do that, that. As somebody as a virtual assistant that's supposed to be in every day, you are supposed to be proactive of the top executive. The question is that if they are still, if you're still under that strict gaze and you're not really working that work easier, right? So as a virtual assistant, your role is making their work easier, you know, is to be proactive. Don't wait for them to tell you what to do. Do it. You see a problem in the company, you see something lacking in the company, talk to them about it, ask questions, raise questions about it. Another thing that I would say is adaptability. Now, like I said, we work from home, we work across different time zones, and we're not limited to a particular industry. Now, as a virtual assistant, you are supposed to be able to adapt to to the industries that you are working for, do you understand? You're supposed to be able to adapt. For example, like now, even if you're in fashion group, right, you're in fashion world, just if for any reason you find yourself in the human resource world, one of the things that makes you a strong way is to be able to adapt in that field, basically, of a HR. And even if, for example, you find yourself in the construction industry, one of the things that makes you to stand as a virtual assistant is to be able to adapt there also. So you're able to adapt in any way you find yourself. That is also another thing I would say. Adaptability is also the qualities of a strong VA. As a virtual assistant myself, right? What strengths do I possess? Okay, so the first strength I would say that I possess that I've seen is being proactive. So in CFU, right, I I didn't really wait for for the president or pastor. Once they give an instruction, and the instruction includes planning and processes, I don't necessarily have to wait for them to to say, okay, so I just do this one, do that. No, 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 no. I do it, and then I come back to, okay, so this is what I have done. I've done this, that. So okay, so what is next? I I present it to them and they approve, but they say, okay, so change this one, change this one. Let us see what we can do. I'm not waiting for them to give me instruction per time. No, just give me what you want me to do, and I will do it. Now, and of course, another thing about that is that I also always go back for questions, right, to them so I can be sure of what was said. This is where communication comes in. Deliver what is expected of me effectively and efficiently. So I always go back. Okay, so if I don't understand something, I always go back and ask questions, and I get feedback on what what to do. And in areas where I did not do well, I get feedback. Okay, you didn't do this well. You didn't speak to this person well and all that, right? So communication. Another thing I would say that I do not lack that I possess, one of my strengths I would say is adaptability. Is so I've worked across different organizations. In FMCG, I've worked in a pharmacy, I've worked with a construction or in design gig, I've worked with church, and I've worked with the law firm and all that. One thing I'll be able to say is that I'm adaptable, right? It doesn't matter which field or which industry I'm in, right? I have the ability to be able to adapt in such industries, no matter what. Yes, so that is so proactiveness, communication and adaptability. Another thing I would say, one more I would say is reliable. VAs are supposed to be reliable, are supposed to be able to be relied on, supposed to be depended on. So the one thing I know that I have qualities on is that I'm dependable. Now, once I know that I'm a virtual assistant, my phone never goes off. I can be reached at any time. Thank you. Yes, I need to improve on, I would say, communication. Yes. I'm not that good at communicating now. I'm delivering well, right? But then at times when I jump on my speech, basically, right? And so then that could be a communication error, that could be a communication flaw, because sometimes you're not able to hear me at the other end, and as a veteran assistant, you're supposed to be able to communicate effectively and efficiently, right? And what makes communication good or great is when strong, rather, is when the person at the other end can hear you. So if at that time when my communication is becoming jumbled, like they can hear it now, right? Is it so? It wasn't this actually. it's difficult for me to be able to communicate. So that is that I will say that is a flaw. Okay, so we learned an interesting topic in this course. It is growth, is a growth mindset and grit. So now what does it mean to have a growth mindset? Now, there are two types of mindset that we have. Basically, we have the growth mindset and we have the fixed mindset. Growth mindset is the belief that a person can grow through effort and learning. A fixed mindset is the mindset that comes in when such person cannot grow. What you know is what you know. You cannot grow. You cannot, you cannot improve yourself basically. So now the growth mindset comes in from the power of not yet. For example, now, do you know how to write an email? I'm giving an example. Not that I know how to write an email, but I'm giving an example. You don't say, no, I do not know how to write. No, you say, I don't know how to write an email yet. Power of yet and not yet. Do you know how to take videos? No, I don't know how to take videos. That's it. No, I don't take videos yet, but I am, you know, go to say things like, I am willing to learn how to, things like that. That is what the good mindset means. Knowing fully well that I might not be skilled in such area, but I am willing to put an effort in and effort to understanding and to making sure that that I'm good or skilled in what is required of me. Now, great is basically so great in simple and short words is basically staying true to the process no matter how hard it is. For example, like now you have a long term goal, you have a long term or short term or mid term goal, right? Great is staying true to the process to the end, no matter how difficult it seems. You can VA journey ahead. So basically, yes, I am very, very excited about this journey because of the flexibility. So now, another thing I love about being a virtual assistant is that you're able to learn and connect with people who on a norm you can connect with them. For example, now let's say I'm working for a very top executive of a very high firm. On the norms, I might not be able to connect such a person. Maybe because maybe the programs that they call for, conference that they call for are way above my budget or way above what I can afford right now. But I got connected somehow, and I started working with them. I just got a big connection. Basically, so my excitement doesn't just end there. My excitement is having to understand different industries across, not just for local but also internationally. Because I love to research. I love to, most importantly, always I love learning. I love improving myself. I'm very ambitious. Let me put it that way. Like in any situation where I get to learn new things, I always grab it with my futures. I'm always so excited when I when I get to learn new things. So that is my excitement. The fact that in virtual assistant, right, I get to learn new things. I get to understand new tools, right. So that's my excitement to become. So basically, right, I won't say I'm limited to, for example, now I've been doing administrative support basically my whole life, right? And believe me, I enjoy it. It's wonderful. But apart from administration, another thing I would say, project and coordination. I love project management. I love executing projects. I love it. So, and this is also one of the things that VAs do. VAs execute and plan projects and they execute structures and processes for the organization they are working with or they are working for. Thank you.